Today's topic is actually enhancing workplace effectiveness, taking productivity to a whole new level. Now, I'm not going to cover the standard aspect of how to improve productivity. The thing I want to share with you is something quite significant. I think our organization as well as individual will have to take steps to actually work on it here. So I call this the emerging workplace standard. And everybody have to realize that these are the new standards that we have to follow. Now, today my topic is very simple. I'm going to divide into two parts to give an overview. So, for example, you understand basically why productivities are so important in the next 3 to 5 years. What is a significant impact? What are the changes they bring about? Why we should focusing on this to create a competitive advantage. The second part, I will look at emerging workplace standard. Now, some of you are aware of it, some of you might not aware of it, but these are the changes that has a lot of impact into how organization can drive performance, how individual can bring themselves to a whole new level, because the next 3-5 years is very, very significant. First of all, let's go into an overview. Now, as you're aware, 2023 is going to be very challenging. The market situation is very enormous, okay? And I think it affects a lot of people. It affects the leaders, it affects business owners and employees alike. Now, the pandemic of 2020 has actually significantly changed a lot of things. Certain things have changed because of the COVID-19, and we can't go back to what it used to be. The other thing it brings forth in many ways that we never anticipate is there's a lot of uncertainties. The question, how do you manage those uncertainties, become very, very significant. All right. Now, whether you like it or not, I think we have to recognize one thing is this. We have to overcome those challenges, and we have to learn how to strive to be successful in the future. So essentially, whether you like it or not, technology is very important. We need to embrace technology in the new workplace, okay? It's not just using tools, but the question, how do you apply technology? The other important part, I think we need to revolutionize the way. I use the word revolution because we really have to change a lot of things, how we work. And how we run our businesses by effectively leveraging the power of information technology. Now, a lot of people say, oh, we are already embraced in technology. But let me tell you, there's a dark side to it, because a lot of people have the wrong impressions that we're using technology. But the question, do we actually understand what is technology here? Now, very simple, I will share with you a very interesting aspect of it. Now, we have a lot of tools. We have Excel, we have Microsoft, and all of us are using a lot of tools. All right, we can plot solutions and so forth. But the problem we have to realize that this tool doesn't bring or guarantee that we will improve our performance in an organization. Acquiring a tool doesn't mean, as long as if you don't understand the significance of the tool, okay? System is just a system, it's a tool, it is an enabler, it's a facilitator. But the success of using the tool, okay, is not determined on the system, all right? So it's not the sole determinant of success. We fall into a trap, okay? When we fall into a trap, means to say that assuming now Excel 2010 and Excel 2020, the amount of improvement that done to the software that we'll be using 10, 20 years ago is so significant. But the problem is that we are still doing the same work process in 2010 and apply into 2020. So what I suggest, very important thing is, I think this is a problem. And sometimes we always want to have the latest, the greatest, and so forth. But many of us don't realize is this. You can have the greatest and the latest. It doesn't mean anything. The most important thing is you must know how to actually take the advantage of the tool. Do we spend enough time in looking at systems? And I have people who always tell me, hey, I want something simple. The word simple, what does it mean? Simple doesn't mean, oh, as long as I can do it easily. But the question, the easily means what? So what we find is, in many times, we want something simple, but we never get the kind of result that we want. So we have to be very clear on what do we mean by technology, because this is a massive, massive problem here. All right? So let's clear the air first. Number one, it's not about having the latest and the greatest. There are many tools that we have, but I think many of us are not spending enough time to actually take the advantage of the technology that are given to us, so forth. All right, so this is one of the major things that I think we have to learn and be happy with whatever, not be happy, but keep improving and understand how we use those tools we need to do. The second important part, I think, is that Changes are very significant. We must able to adapt to those changes. We must be fast. We cannot say, I wait for something to happen. And the other thing is we have to be resilient. And agility is also very important in today's work environment. So even sometimes the thing that I develop today and if tomorrow doesn't work, I'll change those things that doesn't work. And we must also accelerate effective responses. We don't react, but we also cannot wait for something to happen. Oh, today nothing happened, we want to wait for it. It cannot work in that particular manner. So I think, first of all, it's very important we must recognize all these things, okay? The next important part, I think very important is this. We cannot go back to the norm of before the 2020, all right? So what is very important is the business as usual also become very irrelevant. And I think we have to completely revamp our current practices. What works today doesn't guarantee work tomorrow. But what is most important thing is we must have these changes to adapt the new reality and to ensure future success, which also means to say we cannot afford to be complacent. We have to not be happy because nothing happened to this work today. So it's okay, but it might not work tomorrow. It might not next month. So we have to be effective, not just be ineffective, just be happy with whatever you have. And second thing is after you learn new things, you must master it. So in order to master it means you must improve the efficiency of the use of things that you want to do. I think that's a very, very important part in what we call in today's current situation here. Okay, just this. So I think that is one of the most important aspects that we have to realize that. But of course, it also provides us tremendous amounts of opportunity that we can catch up, we can do something different compared to what other people are doing. That next thing, okay, is that, of course, at the end of the day, we must be competitive. We must be able to not only competitive, it must be sustainable, all right? So which means to say we have to take new approaches. We have to find new solutions, okay, in which how an organization wish to operate. How do you look at corporate strategy? Because what is interesting, I want to tell you one scenario was that one company, for example, before the COVID-19, okay, the strategy works, but the minute the COVID-19 comes in, the whole strategy doesn't work. So that is also very important because we had to adapt. And lastly, I think whether you like it or not, the most important assets of any organization actually are the human resource. So we have to also look at new practices, new way of managing resources and so forth. Now, there are so many things to cover, but today I just want to narrow down to only one aspect that we want to cover today. I want to look at what are the 5 emerging workplace standards. Whether you like it or not is very crucial. We have to manage them so that we can make a difference and we can elevate the whole workplace productivity to a new level. I will also intend to provide you potential solutions that you can look at it and how the solution can work on it. As I mentioned to you, these are very important aspect of it, and I hope that you can take and apply some of those things that we can look into it here. All right. So these are some very interesting elements that I want to share with you. Now let me go into the 5 emerging workplace standards. The first one is very interesting. Doing much more with less. Now, what do we mean by move? There are 2 scenarios here that in the new emerging workplace means to say that in the past, we probably have 6 people, but come today, we probably cannot have 6 people. We might not have 3 people. So, which means to say that at the same time, we still need to achieve the same level of productivity. We need to achieve same level of quality. Now, this scenario came about because of the dynamic changes of the work situation here. My nephew, for example, is very interesting. He worked for a very big multinational company, American company. There are 12 of them in the Singapore office. The last year alone, end of last year, the company decided to terminate 7 of them. Not because they don't produce, it's a random, if you're unlucky, you're picked because when they terminate, because they believe that the employee are all equally effective. So to be fair, they randomly pick the 7 people, okay, to leave the organizations. So we have to understand that if you think that you are very good, there might be a chance you might even knock out of the job. So the only way to do is you also have to make a difference. So this is one aspect that you have to recognize it. Google's, Microsoft are retrenching thousands and thousands of people because they realize is that a company cannot continue to grow with the number of people. It's just not sustainable anymore. So all of us have to realize this situation because the situation have changed a lot. This one part of doing much more with less. All right. A second scenario is very simple. It's not that you need to reach. If I have three people, I cannot reduce less to one people. But the important part, if there's number of people, small organization, the trick is not about reducing the number of people, but to bring this three people to a whole new level of productivity from 5 man-days to 2 hours. Now, you probably ask them a question, can it be done? Obviously, it has been done, or else I won't put it down there 2 hours because we have a situation in this manner. Now, in other words, but we also don't want to overwork the employee. We also don't want to overwork people. But the question is that there must be something, whether you like it or not, this will be the situation that all of us will have to be faced in the next 3 to 5 years. And second thing, nowadays, a lot of young people nowadays, they become entrepreneurs because technology provides them an avenues to probably not work for people, but work for themselves. All right. Now, the question is, as an organization, as an individual, how can I bring myself to such a level? Okay. And the only way I want to share with you is one possible solution is to do something like this. Standardize the work process. Means whatever you do every day, automate repetitive and tedious tasks with smart tools. Now, this smart tool has to be customized because every organizations are different. All right. So we need to make sure that people don't waste their time to go and keep doing the same old thing. Yesterday, do the same old thing. Today, do the same old thing. As an organization, what can I do to make sure that all these things are not repetitive? Now, I want to share with you some samples of smart tools. Okay, now this is just some smart tools. So in other words, assuming a company decides to do performance appraisal. Now, what we find is everybody keep doing the same old thing, repetitive something that it has no value to the work you need to do. Take, for example, if I could have an appraisal form, I could design a smart tool, all right, in an organization. We need to put more effort to develop tools like this. So I can have a smart tool. In this case, now I want to work performance. I just click on work. It will allow me to do the work that I want to do. If I want to select a measures, objective, I just click. I don't even have to type things like this. So if I want to select the measures, I can click in and I can do work. Now, I'm just showing you samples of what smart tools are about. This is an Excel. There's nothing great about this, but it's an Excel. So what I'm saying is that today, we have to simplify the whole work for people by making sure those repetitive work, every time we click, and sometimes we need to do reference, it must allow you to do things like this. Assuming if we need to have multiple language, I can create a smart tool that allow you to create multiple language so that we don't have to go and worry to do translations and so forth and things like this. So I think today we have to recognize that, look, sometimes I find very sad because it doesn't matter what platform, it could be Excel, anything. I also have seen systems, digitized system plus solution, and yet people still have to type in all the time. So in other words, it's not just digitizations, but most important thing is everything that is of repetitive in nature, we shouldn't allow and engage and force people to do those kind of job here. All right. So this is just one example of a smart tool. Now, let's say if I want to go and do analysis, take for example. All right. Now I want to do an analysis of some information that I could be extracting data that I want to analyze. So I could actually click here and I can say, okay, I want to analyze a set of data. Okay. That I put there. I can then transfer the data here and I can sort the data in any manner that I want. I just want to share with you, as an organization, we have taken productivity to a whole new level. But let me also assure you one thing. This is not overnight thing. You have to start with something simple. Maybe, okay, let's say, for example, you haven't developed smart tool in an organization. You start with something simple first. But more important thing is identify those repetitive work that requires to do. You need to do some analysis. You need to sort in any particular manner. The thing can sort for you. All right. Now, one thing I want to share with you this. Okay, just 1 second. First, I just put this thing down. Now, for example, I can also create a smart tool for my staff in the sense that I know they need to manage the finance. So I can create a financial tracking tool for them so they can organize their finances. All right, it could be something like this. Now, if some of you want this particular tool, you can ask for it. We will provide you the tool so you can actually analyze your finance. You can do this data. So help them to organize. Make it simple enough, very easy to use, so that eventually people can get things organized in this manner. You can even do analysis if you want to do analysis. You can see how analysis has to be done here. Now, my answer to you is this. You think this is very difficult? No. What do we use? We use simple tools. We use PowerPoint, we use Excel, we use a lot of things to actually activate smart tools, all right? Now, it's very important today, organizations, okay, must start embarking on using smart tools, okay? Now, what you can do is basically is this, to do much more with less. That means every month, allocate about 1-2 hours to sit down with your team and discuss what are the things which are repetitive, what are the things that we shouldn't be doing, so that the staff will have more quality time in the office. And that is very, very important thing. And whether you like it or not, we have to do, we want to perform the task in the shortest possible time here. Okay? So this is very, very important that you have to do it. Let me tell you this, what you see just now, it's not an overnight thing. It took us something 8 years to learn the whole process. I started embarking on smart tools way back in 2012, 2013, and realized that a lot of work, if we don't start working on it, okay, today we will not able to achieve the kind of high level of productivity if not for the smart tools. Okay, so this is a very important part of emerging workplace standard. All right, is there any questions? Okay, I think there are a couple of questions here. Let me just quickly try to answer here. All right. CRM is considered as a smart tool to increase productivity effectively. Yeah, customer relationship management. Now, okay, customer relationship management, Jade, is like this, it's a product. But my only concern is, are you maximizing it or not? Are you taking all the features to people? Are you just happy doing the things they need to do? Or are we actually taking it to the next level? Just about, I think 3 days ago, I was talking to one HR person who was involved in a particular software because she was interested in the software. So the question here is, 3 companies can use the same software, okay? CRM also automate a lot of things. But the question is, one company can use the software more effectively than the other. You have to understand this. It's not about having the best tool in the market. Okay? Then I have Wong, Mr. Wong, Excel can get smart tool. Yeah, actually what you see just now, all using Excel, all developed internally by us, that you can see we can develop any kind of smart tools. But of course, as I mentioned to you, when you all started, number one, you have to embark on the projects. You have to have time to discuss about it. You have to start with something simple enough to work on it, because by the time, if you don't start now, 2-3 years later, you're just too late already. All right, so that is the answers that I would like to share with you, okay? You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to subscribe to Smart Tool. You can actually develop yourself, all right? So it's not a problem. And the minute, once you start doing, let me just share with you, I used to take Smart Tool, take about 3 weeks, 4 weeks to do it. Now I only take 1-2 days to do it if I were to come up with some smart tools, okay? But what you all need to know, what you want, is very, very important here. Thank you for the questions, all right? So doing more with less. The second important part is this, okay? Whether you like it or not, 2 very important aspects of the current emerging workplace standard: multitasking. In other words, you don't get one person to do one job. Nowadays, you have to be multitasking. But that's not the problem. The next problem is collaboration, because you cannot just do multitasking. The emerging work standard now requires collaboration. And the workplace is also very interesting. It's hybrid in nature today. Sometimes, we come to a point in time, maybe sometimes we might have some people have to work in a home, and sometimes we have people work in the office. So a hybrid workplace situation creates a more challenging situation, because collaboration, in the office, we can collaborate. But now we have to collaborate at a distance. At the same time, we have to do multitasking. We means to say, I come to the office maybe in half an hour. I don't do one task. I do multiple tasks, because the situation requires me to attend to multiple situations. All right. Now, one of the things that we encounter this problem, and we find that this is very powerful. we call multi-dimensional dashboarding. Dashboarding is, everybody understands dashboarding, but they never take the dashboarding to a whole new level of performance. Okay, let me share what's dashboarding. Dashboarding is very simple. In this case, I can use an Excel, I can use PowerPoint, I can use any tool for dashboarding. So dashboarding simply means to say, okay, I create a dashboard in which everybody have a common platform, and I go into a dashboard. For example, I decided I want to do resources. I can pick up all the resources. You see, my job is very challenging because I'm swamped with so much of information. I have to do a lot of things. And my staff also have to do a lot of things here. So I can look at it. If I want to send someone, for example, a PDF file, I just click on, and you can say, I can just send a PDF file very easily. I do not know what to expect every day. Every day is very challenging. Sometimes certain things happen, we do not know. You never know what's the request. Somebody can say, Anthony, can you please forward and send me the thing? All right. And I might have a project. Let's just share this. I might have a project. I could manage projects. So in other, every day I could have a project I need to manage. I can click in and dashboard. So which means to say a dashboard create an environment. I might want to do business development. I can click on it and I can do my business development and so forth. I want to know, let's say, for example, I could be a client. I have 2018. I can click on it and I can just close it off here. So this is one example of dashboarding. Now, learning. HR, for example, if you're HR managers and you want to encourage people to learn, well, learning today is you need to learn when you need to apply. But if you don't need to apply, what I learned is just an information. So I can also create, for example, a platform like this. So I can have this called dashboarding. I want to learn about history. I can click on, I can look at history. I can actually create in this manner and so forth. So in other words, and guys, this is no rocket science. You know what you see here? Anybody can do and can actually improve productivity. So instead of trying to look at big picture, you should be focusing on how can I make everybody become productive. All right. So this is not difficult. You think what I use coding? I don't even use coding. I want to look at framework. I click on the framework. Okay. Of course, I told you already, this is very advanced already because we have learned the method I want to do. I can click back. I can check anything I want. So today we actually also need to create a dashboard where if I need to learn something, because sometimes when I apply something today, okay, I didn't apply, so I might not able to apply it. I want to look at something else and I can apply it. So in other words, I can escape and I can do anything that I want in terms of driving performance. So this is very, very important. I encourage nowadays, a lot of people thought of dashboarding, but they never really apply into productivity at the workplace. Okay, so this is a very important part of what I suggest that companies should work on it. Really, if you want to create a competitive advantage, you better stack advantage and allocate time. What I find is we don't spend enough time. We just spend enough time firefighting all the time. Okay, I'll teach you the next part. We will cover the next point here. The next important part is because of collaboration, because of multitasking, it becomes people sometimes go to work and not clear. There's no clarity. So you need to have a clear and balanced objective. Very important thing. So in other words, for me, performance metric is not the most important thing. The most important is the objective. Objective has to be clear and balanced. Metrics, we can change them. We don't like them. But objective, you don't change them. You have to be very, very clear on this. Technology also create many opportunities, also put a lot of us into situation we do not like to be in. What we find today is we are bombarded with so much information. It's not whether you like it or not. We are bombarded with so much information. And so much so, we find that majority of people at the workplace are wasting a lot of time searching and looking for information. It could be a piece of information come in today, and tomorrow I don't know where I put it in. And the more powerful, the harder, the more hard disk you have in your laptop, the more you become disorganized because you can park any information. Sometimes I find limitation is an advantage because it forces you to be very careful in how you manage your laptop. I, every month, do a cleaning on my laptops and how to manage my laptop. Okay, but I want to share with you this. This is something that is very significant because it is a major disaster, major issue on productivity, because every now and then, majority people are spending too much time looking for information and don't know where they keep the information. All right, this is a problem. Of course, partly there's an advantage, but the other way, if you don't take advantage of it, it becomes a problem. Now, the way to solve the problem solution is again dashboarding, but now there's another element of it is called streamlining filing management through dynamic naming convention. Now, it's such a simple thing, but sometimes many of us do not pay enough attention to simple little thing. One little simple thing you do it today now, it can mean significantly in the next 1 to 2 months. Okay, let me show you this one simple example here. Now here is this. I may have file that come in, I'll just key in a file, manage the file. Now, if the number of files and folders are very small, it's not a problem. But you know the reality is we do not know what kind of file today, this file comes in, that file comes in. So one of the things I always share people is first thing first, the most important thing, organize your file by the year. In other, you have organized by the year. Now, please, this is just an example. Each and every one are different. We have different way of organizing. We have different preference, but not to worry about it. But the concept here is we have to go year by year. It's easy. I find that it's so significant. I can pick up the information in 2014 easily. I can pick up information anywhere because I might want to refer to this information. So I will, from here, this way of organizing, I will then make sure that I organize by the year. Then on the year, I will make sure within the year, I have the subfolders again, depending on the subject matter. And within the subfolder, I may have files, I may have sub-files again. And eventually, that is how informations need to be organized. It's very, very important thing today. It's a simple thing, but that is how you need to organize your information. Now, let me share something quite interesting. This is just a dashboarding. So I just want to share. So now I have this file. So all my files here, you can see I have a number. Please remember, it's just an example because it's the way I do it. And maybe 1, 2 years later, I might change these files. I have resources. I manage all my resources here because sometimes I need to manage contents. All my contents are organized here. Okay, I even have sub-references in which how you want to manage a file. I might have business development files because sometimes I have people, Anthony, can you please give me a proposal? So, which means to say, I then organize my files by the reference numbers and so forth. Okay. So now I can have, let's say, projects. I organize all my projects into one side and I name the files in this case in this particular manner. Now, guys, I just want to share with you this. There is no right thing, but you have to start somewhere. Even when you start in a more primitive form, it's better than you just create. And one of the things I always ask every company is every once a month, look at your file again, improve on it. If you have a problem, you cannot retrieve the data, something is wrong how you want to do certain things here. So that is what I would suggest that you look into it. Okay? All right. Now, Eunice has a very interesting question. Is planning is one thing, implementation to get expected outcome is another thing, which Japanese will be convinced. Too much documentation may lose. Yeah, I don't think you want to have too much documentation. But Eunice, is the question here is this. You see, I have a concept called the 70-30 rules. 70% of the time you need to do what you need to do, which is part of an operation requirement. All right, so that is the 70% of the time. We also do not want to spend too much time trying to organize things. But what I'm saying is that people must take some time off to say, hey, could I have done it better? Okay, that is something that I feel is a very important aspect of what we need to do here. All right, okay. So I just had to quickly answer you the question, but what I'm saying is that these are all subtle little things, you know. But this subtle little thing can create 10 times, 100 times of the impact on productivity. All right, I don't ask you to do a lot of things, but I do ask put times effort. You start with something small, doesn't matter. Create a small thing so that we can move forward in this dimension. All right, okay. So I think that's very important. The fifth part is very important, is extracting, analyzing relevant data. Now, what I find quite interesting is mostly analytics and data extraction are always at the top level. Now, in the new, what we call workplace requirement, all right, that is no longer acceptable already. You basically have to allow every individual to do some basic analytics, do some risk assessment. It's very, very important. Today, everybody has to do it. So it could be supervisor, executive, you have to start training them to do analytics, which means to say, very important, you could have a simple software, all right? leveraging of analytical tools. You can get any kind of tools, but most important thing is they can do analysis, okay? They can do analysis. They can actually look at, let's say, for example, if I want to look at COVID, okay? And some analysis are able, but the most important, give her a task. Can you please analyze for me what are the various information, how you're going to track those information here? I can look at death, in this case, COVID-19. I can look at new cases, okay? I can look at years by 6 months. I can look at death. I can just look at whether has impact on whatever it is. Now, this is just quickly to show you. Later part, we've got time, we go into it first. But anyway, I just want to share with you. So one of the important aspects that all you must realize is this. Everybody now must train. So one of the things I always give to my client is teach people simple things first. You can just track certain data. Don't have to be very big thing. Okay, you might find, okay, it's not meaningful, but meaning will only come when suddenly they can find correlation between the various information and how impact each other. So decision making become more effective, because that means to say decision making must base on gut feeling. Yes, it must base on facts. It must base on analysis. It must base on assessment. So I think that's an important part of what you can do to solve this problem here. Start with simple tools, doesn't matter. Okay, next one is very important, which is the last part of emerging workplace standard, is that we don't have enough time to spend time to learn anymore. We've got to accelerate learning. I cannot spend 3 months to send my stuff, accelerate learning, because we are all swamped with a lot of things. The demand of operation just leaves us little time to want to learn. But the platform today is so enormous. We can go to YouTube, we can do this. But the question is, we just need to accelerate the learning. But the question, how do you encourage people to accelerate learning? Okay, how do you develop knowledge, improve the knowledge capabilities? So these are some of the challenging situations that we are facing. Of course, I can send my stuff for learning, but now we find that we have less and less time because we are overwhelmed with a lot of other things that we need to work on here. All right. So one of the things I suggest is a balanced development operation task through adoption of the 70-30 rules, which means, as I already explained just now, it's very important that every month or every week, like my staff, every time they have to write down what they have learned today that have impact of their future development. As long as they learn something new, something different, okay, that is very important, which I find, unfortunately, people thought that learning is a goal for training program, but training program sometimes might not help a lot. It's actually hands-on learning is far more important. So 70-30 rules, 30% of the time must spend on development, must spend on activity that lead to the development and so forth. All right. And of course, the other one is, this is so important. I only find that unfortunately, the company that actually do this are usually multinational company, personal development plan. So in other words, it's very important because I cannot teach you what to learn, but I can only provide you what you want to grow. Then learning becomes a natural thing. So in any of the organization, I always tell organizers, please, if you can do, you might not do one training, you have to manage what we call a personal development plan for every. And this only happened to most big multinational companies that will actually embark on what we call a personal development plan.